Hey everybody, welcome. Come on in. Welcome into this week's energy update with some harmonizing biofeedback tones so that we can align our vibe with the background frequency that is influencing us and moving us and directing us. And when you get in harmony and you get in the flow like that, that's when you start co-creating your reality and manifesting your dreams. So, I'm Katie Steinley. I am owner of Discover Your Design, and I'm an intuitive life coach that reads your DNA code so that I can help you find out and remember who you came here to be and what you came here to do so you can live your best life. So let's get started with this weekend and going into next week's energy update. We've got the sun moving through its final stages of the 60-second gate of the Chinese I Ching, which, when you're hearing me reference gates and numbers, basically just think of it as genetic DNA type activations. And as the planets, move and the cosmos, just like the moon affects the tides, the planetary alignment affects the background frequency, if you think about it, for your environment and what's influencing you in the week ahead. So we just stay one step ahead of it by becoming aware of it, so you're not as triggered and you have the tools and you're calibrated to be able to deal with it and maximize it to your potential. So, anyways, so the gate 62 is all about, the highest level of organized thought, the most impeccable expression that you can bring. And when you think about it, when you connect in with your higher self, that's when you really can speak your truth, right? And you're not standing in any fear at all. You are just expressing yourself in the most authentic way. And in any given situation, you're not reacting from an emotional place or a place of fear. So just keep that in mind as you're moving through the next couple days. And the other interesting thing on today, July 17th, we also have the sun opposing the planet Pluto. And so this is where you have the sun, which is your identity. You obviously want to assert your identity, opposing Pluto, which is tied to nature and the fact that there are forces in nature that we can't always control and that are always going to be coming at each other. So it's about these two trying to come together in some way and integrate. So it's like there's always going to be things that you can change and circumstances you can shift. And then there's going to be things that are outside of your control, whether they're natural or just circumstantial. And so it's about bringing balance to, kind of reminds me of the Serenity Prayer. It's like one of my favorite prayers. They use it in the 12-step program. It's so good. But if you think about it, it's the ultimate balance of God grant me the serenity to change the things that I can, to accept the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so you're not beating your head against a brick wall and using unnecessary energy, for something that's just really, it's a limitation and it's outside of your control, and you have to learn to adapt to that. So yeah, don't fall into any victim mentality about resigning to the circumstances that you're in, like, oh, I'm so helpless, because you can do things to integrate these two and balance it and to shift your perspective or shift your circumstances in some way, that starts to move the energy. And then also, other spectrum of that is, don't get into hyper control mode, where gosh, it's amazing anymore, because I think there's so many things now that are out of our control that people have become control freaks, of like, okay, this is what I can control. So I'm going to control every, absolute ounce of it. And then it becomes an issue, right? So a balance is a big theme that is playing out for you the next couple of days. Building any internal strength, any internal, resilience would be a good thing to focus on if you're doing meditations. And we'll be doing one here that'll help, get us tuned into that. And then on Monday, just to give you a heads up, on the 19th, the solar week starts, and the sun will be activating gate 56, which is the gate of the storyteller. And this is actually like one of my favorite gates. I don't have this activated in my design, but if I still feel like I'm pretty darn good storyteller, but I think that's because I have a very vivid imagination too. But anyways, storytellers, to me, if you think about it, are one of the greatest gifts somebody can give, a good story. Because when you think about all of our history, all of the generations have passed down our customs, our cultures, our history, really in stories, through either speaking or through writing them down. I mean, you think of just the Bible, for instance, and all the people that took the time to write down all of these stories, to put it together for us. It's really amazing. So, really, if you can, spin a good yarn, please do that. And this energy is all about, this will be illuminated for you this week. So keep that in mind. A great time to share experiences with others, what you've learned, what has worked for you, what has not. But to do it in a way that's expansive, right? And helps uplift and inspire others, instead of telling your story in a way that's depleting, or it's like tried to say contracted and restricted at the exact same time. So constricted. But you know what I mean. Because that's just going to deplete you, and it's going to, deplete the people that you're telling the story to, right? So, some questions to kind of start to contemplate, to start to ask yourself as you move through this coming week are, like, what stories do you tell yourself? Or what stories do you tell other people? Because I personally, I am the worst at telling my self-talk, like I've worked on it a lot, and I'm getting a lot better, but just telling that story over and over again to yourself, that you're not good enough, or that you need to prove yourself, or all the things in human design. If you are following me with human design, your open centers are always going to be triggers for you. So wondering or not knowing, like, when enough is enough, and feeling like you have to do twice as much as somebody else, again, to prove your value or prove your worth. But all of these things, that they're so important to start to become aware of, so that you can bring them from a subconscious level to a conscious level. And that's where we can work on the frequency and the tuning, right? And we can really start to up level ourselves. And also, kind of ask yourself, like, what are you here to inspire others to do or to be, and start shifting your stories in a way that is in line with that. Because there's a reason we all have different dreams and different passions. And when we were kids, we all had this, unique thing we wanted to do or be, or see the world become. Because those are our strengths, those are our inherent gifts. And what happens is we start to just mold ourselves to, a particular job, or particular lifestyle or whatever. And you go into autopilot and you forget your uniqueness. And that's where you can really start to get into a place of co-creation, when you can, it's where you fully embody your full potential and your full power. And it can really, I've seen it time and time again, make life-changing, life-altering shifts for people. Because it's kind of like, I wrote this quote down by Einstein I wanted to share with you, because love me some Einstein. I have so much admiration for him, because he was such a science brilliant mind. And it's like, the more that he went into the science aspect and the deeper he went, the more he embraced the unknown and the spiritual aspect of everything. Because you realize at a certain point that you're never really going to be able to figure it all out, and there must be some kind of higher power, or something behind all this. And one of the things that he said is, he said everything is energy. And all you have to do is match the frequency of the reality you want. And you can't help but get that reality. To him, he was just saying it's basic physics. And I mean, Einstein don't lie. So it's like, what I'm doing with you guys is exactly this. And so I applaud you, if you tune into this, especially if you tune into it on a regular basis, because, we're up leveling our, this hits you at a cellular level, and then we activate at a cellular level. So we are up leveling our DNA, and, we are up leveling, our whole mind, body, spirit, all levels of our energy by doing this work. So good for you. And I always, before we go into the tones, I always like to talk about where the earth is moving, because the sun is what's going to be illuminated for us this week. The earth is how we take that storyteller energy in and how we're grounding it into our reality. And it's interesting, the earth this week is moving through the gate 60, which is the gate of limitation. And, when you hear limitation, it's not necessarily like wah, wah. It's really, limitation is all around us. It's interesting that this is activating, because we just also talked about, we've got multiple levels of this type of energy with the Pluto and the Sun thing. This is kind of the same thing. It's about realizing and adapting to what you can change. When you get into a place of limitation, you step back and you go, okay, I'm bumping into some walls here. Can I provide structure to this to be able to overcome this limitation? And sometimes you can. And then there are other times where there are things outside our control, or like Pluto, nature, that it's just not meant to be, or whatever. There's just boundaries that are boundaries, are part of life, right? Like one of them is we all die, like you just can't get out of that one. And so going back to that, acceptance, that adaptability, that knowing when you can, through your internal strength and resilience, make changes in your circumstances and co-create your reality. And then knowing, when there are limitations, and then you pull your energy away from that focus, and you're not wasting it, right? You're using it more on what you can control and empower. So biofeedback wise, what we're going to be working with today is I'm including the Nogier L frequency, and that deals with just emotional balance, because, hitting, some of these things this week, there might be some times where you do feel a little like, overloaded, depressed, like, wow, I'm bumping into this wall, and, why can't I get over it? Unless you are a 3-5 manifesting generator. I just did a reading for, don't want to give her name out because she might be watching, but she'll know who she is. But anyways, I loved what she said. If you have a 3 or a 5 in your profile, especially a 3 in human design, she said, you know what? I've just learned in life that when I hit a door and it won't open, I got to find a window. Like, instead of just going, oh God, the door won't open, and then you go sit in the corner and sulk. That type of mentality is built to go, no, wait, let me look around, what else can I do? Is there something else I can do? Oh, I can climb out a window, get the same result. I love that. So this is kind of what we're sitting in this week. So I'm also putting in the gene key activations, like we talked about, for the 62nd gate of organized details. That's in the throat chakra. So we're balancing throat chakra too. 60th gate of limitation is in the root chakra, doing both. 56 is in the storyteller energy is through the throat, expressing that out. So we're balancing, again, throat chakra. And then Chiron is going to be sitting in the 21st gate, which is associated with our heart. So it's very beautiful, kind of giving you that second chance, to really go in, do some powerful, deep healing with that. And then I've got a background in traditional Chinese medicine. So I thought the governing vessel, when you think of Chinese meridians, their energy flows within our body. The governing vessel and the conception vessel are the masculine and feminine energy flows within us. And so when we balance that, we're going to, harmonize better, with just really anything that we're dealing with. We're going to be able to deal with any limitations so much better. We're just going to be very even keeled. And then throwing in the Bach flower essences, if you're familiar with those, chestnut bud, which will help us learn from our mistakes, and willow, which is helping us turn our trials into triumphs. So if there are limitations that come up for you this week, don't immediately just go, oh, I hit a door, it won't open. Do like, my 3-5 friend and go, how can I make this victorious after all? And then basil, the essential oil for adaptability. So I think this will be a really helpful, powerful session, healing tones for you. So let's go ahead and start to just move into this. Sit back and get your feet on the ground. Close your eyes and just start to take some nice, deep, letting go breaths. Really just pulling yourself back to this present moment that we're in, pulling yourself back from all the places that you've scattered your energy throughout the week. Just calling it all back into your center, your heart center, the core of who you are. And just seeing that spark that is you, that is your soul, that is your essence, that spark of light come alive. And see it just moving in 360 degrees, this bright, white, brilliant light. And then start to bring this light down, this column that is your spinal column. Start to drop that light down your spinal column and just moving it effortlessly down through your feet into the earth. Just being pulled magnetically towards the crystalline core of the earth. And I always like to envision myself plugging this light that is me into that crystalline core. Thinking about the harmonizing that we are going to be doing and just really harmonizing with the perfected resonance of the earth, of our reality, of life as you know it, really starting to up-level your life to the highest possible timeline that you can live. Why not set that intention? And while we're here, go ahead and set any intentions for the energy that we just discussed and how you want to see that come alive in your life this week. Really just feel like roots of a tree, like your energy is grounding that into the earth, grounding it into your being and your seeing and your doing. And then go ahead and start to move that beautiful, nourishing, loving, supportive, building, creating energy back up through the earth, back into your physical being, back into your energy being, your auric field, that 360-degree light moving through your heart space, that earth energy filling your field. And go ahead and just start to move that energy up the column of light, up your spinal column, out the top of your head, moving out of your crown chakra, shooting up past the moon, past the sun, past all the stars and planets in our galaxy, and then moving into the golden white light that is the source of all creation, all possibilities, all potentiality, and just starting to feel and breathe this in, this electrical energy of creation, where all of creative thought and genius was pulled from. You have access to that too. And start to, on this next exhale, start to drop that down, moving back down through your upper chakras, back down into your energy field and your physical field. And just feel that coming to rest and acclimate with the earth energy in your heart space, expanding your heart space so that you can really take these tones in on a deep level and feel the subtle shifts of the frequency in your body aligning to these perfected resonances. Sit back and listen to the tunes. keep your eyes closed for just a few more seconds. Just really taking some nice deep breaths in and really just letting the subtle shifts take place in your body. The frequency aligning and kind of shifting your energetic being and then moving into your physical being. And, just really mixing the intentions of, what you want to accomplish this week with that creative, infinite possibility spark that we brought in, and really just feeling that power, that backing, that strength that you have this week to adapt, to accept and to have the impeccable expression in doing so. And also the wisdom to know when you might be facing, a limitation, facing a door and you've checked and the windows are shut, right? And so you just might need to accept it for what it is. But thank you guys for hanging with me today and taking this in and just taking the time to, up level your vibe, because you go out and you don't even realize it. Even the people you're standing in line with at Starbucks, we are all energetic beings, and you're chemistry wise interacting with everything in your environment. So when you take the time to do this and you go in and in your week you end up interacting with 100 given people, and then you just do something, or just being in your energy like kind of lifts their spirits, and they do think of the ripple effect that this can ultimately have. So I just want you to honor yourself, pat yourself on the back for taking the time to spend with me today, and share this out. And please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you get a reminder when I come on. I come on every Saturday, and I'll go ahead and just create a 5-minute meditation with just the tones for you. It might be a little longer because we did the tones a little longer this week. I'll post that tomorrow. So that way, anytime you need to come back during the week and you just want to go to the tones, you can. But yeah, this week I think I would hit it harder than you might usually do. And that'll help you just ride the wave, and you'll see some significant good changes in your life this week. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have the best weekend, the best week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.